Good evening, welcome to the Goffstown Sewer Commission's regularly scheduled meeting. We'll start with introductions with Keith.
Keith Canton, Assistant Sewer Foreman.
Lynn Pooler, Sewer Secretary.
David Pierce, Commissioner.
Tim Redmond, Commissioner.
Daniel Taylor, Commissioner.
Michael Trank, Consulting Engineer.
Jim Craig, Select Board Representative.
Thank you everyone for coming. First thing we do at every meeting is our public comment session. If anyone is here for public comment, now is your time to step forward and speak. There's no one here for public comment, so we'll close public comment. Approval of minutes from April the 9th. They were on the table tonight. If anyone would like to read them at home, we can delay the decision to accept or reject them until our next meeting, if anybody would like.
They were emailed to everybody as well.
Yeah, good for that. Okay, did everybody, do you guys have a chance to read them, or do you
Yes.
want
Yep.
to delay?
Yes,
Okay. So
Motion to approve the minutes of April 9th, 2024 as presented
I'll second. No changes.
with no changes.
Motion has been made to approve the minutes as presented from April 9th, 2024. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. We have no new business tonight. So we'll go straight to old business, and we have the representatives from St. Ace to here to discuss sewer use charges. I invite you guys to the table. Anybody that's going to come to the table and speak, we'll need your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. My name is Ari Pollack. I'm with the law firm of Gallagher, Callahan, and Gartrell in Concord, and I'm here this evening for St. Anselm College. With me tonight, behind me is Bill Furlong. He's the Vice President of Finance and CFO for the college. And next to him is Jonathan Woodcock, the Director of the college's physical plant. And seated to my left is Tom Burns, a licensed septic designer with TF Moran Engineering in Bedford. We're here tonight, as you know, to revisit our prior discussion about sewer flows and annual fees for the college's facilities that are located in Goffstown and that are piped into the municipal system that leads through Goffstown and heads to Manchester. Since we were last here, we requested and received flow data from the sewer department. Thank you. And we asked our engineers to take a look at some cost modeling in multiple different ways to try and land on something that was fair and representative. I have a handout which is nothing more than a duplicate of the email and the attachments that I had sent to Lynn some time ago in advance of this meeting. But just to make sure everybody has all the same things in front of them, I thought I'd hand it around. We first used the DES design table that I know you're all familiar with, table 1008-1. We calculated estimated flows and adjusted for the typical college or higher education schedule, or annual schedule, if you will, which essentially boils down to the 2 semesters, holiday and summer breaks. In other words, roughly 30 weeks of activity, or at least typical activity on the campus. That calculation is on the handout attached to the email. I think it's actually the last page, but it says unit design flow in the line titled methodology. The calculation resulted in a total of 437 treatment units and 252 treatment units if you applied a seasonal adjustment, which, again, we used 30 weeks. Next, and really for comparison purposes, we understand the town's preference for design metrics, but we crunched the historic flow data that we'd received from the sewer department to check and see if our seasonal adjustment made any sense, where we at least ballpark. And we were, actually. The calculation is on the other handout. If you flip forward one page, and it's entitled, the methodology there is entitled Sewer Meter Pit Readings. And again, we we did this for the purposes of comparison, and in this case, the comparison using some averaging of historic data turned out to be 246 treatment units. So we felt pretty good that we were in the right universe, at least, in terms of what our design was indicating and what our actual usage was indicating. And in order to give the benefit of the doubt to the town and to work conservatively, which we know all of these numbers are intended to be conservative, we then used the 252 units from the unit design flow method to come up with a proposed treatment price, or annual fee, if you will. We applied the prevailing $450 per treatment unit, which we know is adopted by the commission town-wide, not specific to any project or party. And we therefore are suggesting that we enter into an agreement where the college pays $113,397 for the year 2024. The unit price would, of course, go up or down town-wide as the commission may adjust that going forward. We understand that that would be applicable to us as well on an annual basis, or at least whenever it may be changed. We would suggest that the number of treatment units should be revisited in some interval. I think annual's probably too much. We don't want to do this every year. Maybe something like 4 or 5 years. It would be a sufficient amount of time to recalibrate for the number of or population of boarding students, day students, and then generally employee levels, folks that are on the campus. So just to wrap it up here, and obviously this is a continuation of a discussion we'd already started, we understand the commission prefers the DES design flows, and that's easier, we realize, but we also respectfully ask that we recognize a seasonal adjustment where it's appropriate given the nature of a college campus and its unique characteristics as I don't know how to say it, but not a full-time population. And so we put all of this in front of you with respect for you as a commission, the work that you do, the desire and need that you have to protect the community, and also the long and beneficial relationship that the college has with the town. We're just looking for something that right-sizes the service, the consumption of that service, and the college's unique pattern of use. Again, we're here for your questions. We've got representatives of the school and our engineering group before you. I'll stop talking and we'll be happy to take your questions.
Dave, what is the present charges on treatment units? What are we presently charging them that we're discussing?
275, which
275.
yields 123,750.
Okay, I just want to be able to write the numbers down here to compare them.
275. And you're going to have a handout from me in a moment that shows that.
Okay, thank you for that, Dave. So, we could either entertain questions of the folks here, or Dave could make his presentation based on our data. So what would you guys like to do? Would you like to hear our presentation first and deal with questions later?
Sure.
Okay, Dave?
Thank you for the lead. Mr. Pollack, well, speaking for myself, but I think maybe the commission could agree, the 1 April letter from T.F. Moran uses the New Hampshire table to using the college's data for students and employees, and it comes up with a value of 437. That I would have no problem with that. I have a tentative agreement, if based on how things turn out this evening, that basically says on 1 April you would supply such data, and picking up on your theme, Mr. Pollack, every 4 years sounds like it's a reasonable revisit of the number of students and number of employees. one of the faults of the agreement we had in 1990 was that there was nothing in the agreement that specified a revisit time. That was a flaw in that agreement that led us to where we are today. What else can so the method of calculating your students, how that was handled and presented to us, I would have no conflict with that. In fact, I would want that like every 4 years on 1 April. But I'm going to take issue with T.F. Moran's analysis of the flow data. Their model was that 22 weeks out of the 52, there's no students, and therefore that leads to a 42% discount on the 437 value. Why I take issue with that model leading to a 42% discount is that assumes that there's no flow at all during that 22 weeks. And therefore, no flow for 22 weeks, 22 divided by 52 is a 42% discount. The 11 years of flow data that T.F. Moran has clearly shows that for the 3 or 3.5 months of the typical summer period, well, it's not zero flow. It's on the order of 45 to 50% of everything that would be on all the other 9 months of the year. So that's why I take issue that the 22 weeks out of 52 is something more than zero flow. And the discount should reflect that, yes, there is a lower flow, but it's not zero. So let's see if I can take it from the top again. I agree with how you presented your employee student numbers.
Do they align with the website that you scouted?
Yes, they were in the ballpark.
Less or more than what the school's website states for their enrollment? 'Cause I thought it was higher than that when we spoke about this in the past.
It was, to me, it was, I'm just going to say it was within the ballpark. It might have been plus or minus 20 treatment units, but
No, I mean the number of resident students.
the number of residents, yes, because I took it off and the website, I think, was 2019, might have been 2020, but it was in the ballpark of the figures presented in their letter. And we're in no, I feel, the commission, we're in no position to refute that. The college presented their honest valuation of the numbers, and it's, I see no reason to raise a doubt on that. And secondly, we're going down, both of the college and I think the commission are also going down the same path, that we're willing to address a discount on the theoretical value of 437 used by the use of the New Hampshire table. So where I am now is I'd like to hand out to the commission and to you, Mr. Pollock, that same 11-year flow data, but how another engineer might interpret it. Thank you. Okay, if I can clearly go through a lot of. In yellow on the right-hand side of the paper, you see where I have made an average of 11 years of flow, such as like in the month of May, 1,274,000. And that average was, I had subtracted out the 20 and 21 months, which you did yourself in TF Moran. You subtracted out, in your case, the entire data for 2020. And in my case, I'm subtracting out the ones that I've highlighted in yellow because that was the school year starting in 20, leading into 21. So my averages have done exactly what TF Moran did. I've subtracted out some values that might be in doubt because of the COVID-reduced students. So when I look at the 4 values for the summer months, and that's 18 weeks of a period where the students theoretically are off the campus, there still is considerable flow. It averages to 1,014,750 per month. Whereas if I take the other 9 months I've highlighted in green, the average of those 9 months, or 8 months, the average for those 8 months would be 2,097,500. Dropping down just one box below that 2 million value, you can see how the total flow using this 4-month and 8-month model yields 20 million gallons a year. Dropping down one line, I can take the 8 months of average, theoretically extrapolate that to be like a full year. If you really had students on campus all 12 months, well, in that case, the flow would be 25 million gallons. Well, the difference between 20.8 and 25.1 is 83%. So what would be a theoretical flow for the whole year? We agree there should be some reduction due to students being off campus, and I would maintain that using 11 years of data, or 10 years because of COVID, the final flow is 83% of a year. So you can see on the middle of the box near the bottom, if I apply 83% ratio to the 437, it comes out to 336. That's my counter argument as to what is an appropriate discount off of the 437. In my case, I've shown some mathematics that it's appropriate to use a 17% off rather than 42% off.
It's not coincidental, too, that in that bottom box it says if students were attending all 12 months, you come up with 25,170,000. It's not coincidental that in 2023 it was 25,471,000. It's right there on the flow meter.
So, well, I never caught that observation. Thank you. Let's see. So that where we are at this point, I agree with you how you're presenting the students and employee numbers to us on 1 April. I concur, at least I do, that, hey, let's review this every 4 years, use the New Hampshire table, and where we differ is your presentation was 42% off the value. My presentation was 17% off the full valuation. And I have a tentative one-page agreement that we could review if the chair would so agree, that simply says that let's look at this agreement every 4 years on 1 April. The college would provide employees and students, and there would be a certain percentage discount. And that's just right in that, whatever the number is going to be. And that would be reviewed every 4 years. So where we are right now, your presentation is 42 off, and mine is 17% off.
Right. I don't know, Mr. Chairman, whether we're should we respond to that proposal?
Not right now.
Okay,
I think you should sit on it for a minute here.
okay.
I have some other comments I'd like to add to the discussion tonight. If you want to go first, Daniel, let me let you go.
You can go.
So we're discussing your student population. We're discussing your resident population, which is employees, and then we have the day students and the day employees. This is related to the college activities and sewer flow. One thing we have not discussed, and I don't know if we just haven't or if it's been intentional because we wanted to hold off until we got to a point in our discussion where we were negotiating. We don't discuss the extracurricular uses of the campus. We don't discuss how many people use the football stadium during football season and flush the toilets. We don't talk about the hockey arena. We don't talk about the Dana Center. We don't talk about the large cafeteria, which gets rented out for functions from time. I've been to several functions at the cafeteria myself. So there's a lot of other use on the campus which is not being calculated into the presentation that you have made, which is based solely on the student and the employee population. So this is where I think some common ground can be achieved in our discussions, because if you're willing to recognize that these are contributing flows, then we can, in good faith, negotiate towards a mean number that you will agree on and that hopefully we will agree on. So that's the one thing I wanted to put in at this time, and I'm going to step back at this time. Dan, do you have anything to add?
Not at this time.
So, Attorney Pollack, if you'd like to respond, you're welcome to respond. If you'd like to think and discuss it with your colleagues and come to another meeting, we're more than welcome to have you come back. Your bill is going out at the end of the month, which is in the rear, right, Lynn?
It's for January through June 30th.
January from now.
Yes.
So you'll be,
It's what it has been with the $25 treatment unit increase.
so you will be paying for in arrears, which is fine, that's all cool. But the next bill doesn't go out until November.
15th.
So we really have some time to discuss this and mutually agree on the mathematics that Dave has presented and the math that T.F. Moran has presented and your statements, which we've all heard, and appreciate your effort to find common ground with us.
Yeah, okay, I mean, I guess what I could say now is we can recognize that those other uses occur on occasion and do contribute flow. We certainly couldn't deny that. But what I think is important is the reason we checked our adjustment against our historic use is to justify that our adjustment was at least ballpark. And that turned out to be the case. If anything, the adjustment based upon historic use was high. And I understand that the commission doesn't like to use historic use because that could change, and your best guess of what might happen is the engineering approach of design flow. But you can't, these outside factors of, is every student boarding or day, is every event college-related or some special event occurring, those are all extrapolated guesses, and you can't know those things with precision from one year to the next, and I couldn't tell you whether this year is typical or not until it finishes and I have some data to compare. And that's the purpose of the data and the purpose of the comparison. And what we can at least say as we sit here is that the comparison of a 30-week, or as you say, a 42% adjustment it compares favorably to the experience over the last 10 years. Yes, we did some COVID adjustment. Yes, those were odd years. Some massage of the data for that circumstances, of course, appropriate. But that's the reason that we landed where we did. we would be paying our fair share and then some based upon what has happened in the past. And so, you use the word negotiation. I think we're all comfortable with that. I think we need to land someplace where everyone has relative comfort. And I see the goalposts at this point as 42% versus 17%. And I'm not saying to split the difference, and I don't have any authority to say it even if I thought it was a good idea. But what I'm saying is we're unable to just simply accept that 17% is the right number for two basic reasons. One, it would lead to a significant increase over what has been historically paid over the last 30 years. And I'm not excusing that. It shouldn't have happened. 30 years is too long. I don't know why there wasn't some reevaluation method. To my knowledge, none of us were here. I can certainly tell you I wasn't here. It made no sense then. It makes less sense now. However, agreeing to that kind of increase, it doesn't line up with the historical data and the volumes. And so I think we're going to need to keep trying. If we don't want to do it tonight in person, I agree completely. It's awkward to do it.
I don't want to make rash decisions.
Yeah.
And have anybody leave unhappy or stay unhappy, whatever the case may be. The other thing too is that our system of treatment units is kind of like an over-under arrangement. Some people in town may go over their treatment units, some may go under their treatment units. We don't have water meter data to come up with the numbers. We use the state septic charts based on the state's data for a home, and I assume they design their data so the septic systems don't fail. I don't think they would put the numbers so close to system failure that the numbers are going to be under what people actually do use. So if you could accept the fact that we use that state chart, we probably collect for sewer use that is a little more than some people actually put into the system because they're allowed up to a number. If they use up to the number, we don't know. If they use over the number, we don't know. Okay? However, all the sewer funds are not just calculated like the city of Manchester may calculate for water in and sewer out. I'm sure those numbers are adjusted so that when they have to do work on the system or anything they have to have money in the bank, and that is collected through the sewer fees and then deposited for future projects rather than arbitrarily raise rates because we have to do $1 million pump station next year, so everybody has to pay an extra $3,000 on their sewer bill to come up with the money. We don't work like that. So you would be the only case where we actually use metered flow data to come up with a number. And if we use the metered flow data right to the number, we are going to shortchange ourselves for future money for system upgrades. And when we have to pay our fair share of our percentage at the wastewater plant, we own 4% of the Manchester wastewater plant. And whenever DES, or I shouldn't say DES, the federal government through the Clean Water Act requires them to do upgrades to the treatment portion of the plant, we have to pay our 4%. That money has to come from somewhere. So just be aware that this is our line of thinking and how we would be approaching a rate. Not just gallon out, gallon in. It's because we have we'd have to adjust our rates like to cover what Manchester rates might be. And I don't even know what Manchester rates are per gallon. But I do know they're looking at 9% increase every year for like the next 8 years because of all the work they're doing in the city of Manchester, which is significant compared to what we are proposing for increases. So with that,
Yeah, I accept all of what you've said, and I will tell you that just simply receiving the proposal, at least from Commissioner Pierce, if not the whole board, indicates that you're willing to at least look at us differently than the typical user, and I think that's wonderful, and we appreciate it.
Okay.
I think there is some recognition needed there, and you're providing it, and we thank you. Okay. Whether we're ready to sign up for 17%, I don't think so. I think, we've all sort of given our relative positions. They're all in good faith. They all make some sense, but we've got more work to do. And if the bill's coming out, no problem, we'll pay it. And we'll have a true-up at some point whenever we
Well,
land on
You're
something.
paying the old rate,
Even better.
right.
Yes. Mr. Chair, at some point in the near future, we're going to get the 2 gold posts, so 17 off or 42 off, compromised. I don't want to, at that point, at some point in the future, then lay on the table a tentative agreement. I would like to distribute, just for reading, for a draft copy tonight, distribute this tentative agreement, so we know what it says, Mr. Polik and the college knows what it says.
Before you do that, I'd like to,
And the only thing blank is what is the discount?
I'd like to read it myself and have Daniel read it one more time before we give it to them. So we're gonna take a little pause here while we look and review this document Dave has. I'm sure we've seen it before, but I'd like to make sure I refresh my memory.
No, not in public. I haven't distributed it. So. Trying to make our job easier 2 months down the road.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Dave, I'm good.
Corey, could you distribute to 4
Daniel, you
people?
good?
Keith?
Yep.
So once again, this is draft. It covers everything we've said, only has 1 blank space in it for a discount value. Take it home and see if you're happy with it.
So, when you're ready, your turn? I find it a little bit distressing that even with your new calculations, you want a better deal than you had for the past 30 years. You want to reduce what was 275 to 252 and have it even cheaper than you've had it for the last 30 years. And to me, I don't see that ever happening. I would never go backwards on anybody's calculations on their sewer bill. So being as you're willing to discuss this further, I just want to be sure that I was heard on that matter.
Message received,
So-
as well as the draft and the calculations. We'll be happy to take these things under advisement and
How
come
would
back.
you like to proceed then? Would you like to talk amongst yourselves out of the limelight here and inform the secretary whether you would like to appear at the subsequent monthly meeting next month?
Yes. Maybe what we could do for this evening's purposes is ask for a motion to table this matter until the June meeting, whatever date that is. And if for some reason that's not enough time, we'll be in communication with Lynn. But otherwise, it will be our intention to come before you again.
All right, well, if you'd like to make that motion, we'll table it till
Yes,
the subsequent meeting.
The matter before us on the billing of St. Anselm College, I'd like to table our discussion and continue it at
June 11th.
June 11th.
June 11th, that was my last
I'll
question.
second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to table this discussion until June 11th. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention? Motion passes to table this measure. Thank you all for coming in, we appreciate your effort.
And you as well, thank you.
Did you get these copies also? Did they get these?
Did you get a copy?
Did you guys get these ones with the USC,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay,
yes.
good. I just want to be sure you didn't leave without them.
Thank you, I have it.
If you are going to have a discussion, gentlemen, the hallway echoes. We'd appreciate it if you would take it at least out into the alcove.
Yeah, we're gonna go
It's
in
nice
the
and
park.
warm, it's 80 out there.
Corey, Keith, did you get a copy?
I didn't get a copy of any of the stuff you gave them, the agreement or the, thank you.
In the agreement.
Okay.
I was gonna steal Jim's if you don't have.
We're gonna have a long night here, it's already 7 o'clock, we have a lot to do, so
Well,
let's...
Corey's not here to discuss some of it, so,
What?
Corey's not here to discuss some of it.
Well,
so-
we're gonna sort of go over it.
Okay, thank you.
Either Keith will stand in for Corey or I will.
Okay.
The next item is the 2024 default budget, and we have the town's finance manager here, director, to give us some advice. And welcome Danielle to the table, please.
Good evening, everyone. Linda,
Oh, yes. One little couple of photos there.
For the record, please.
good evening, everyone. Danielle Besora, Assistant Town Administrator. And actually, I have to update you all that the Select Board made a change to my title. So I'm no longer the Finance Director, I'm the HR Director. And we have a new Finance Director, but we're in transition right now. So we haven't passed along the operational duties yet.
You mean we have to go to somebody else for answers now?
No. No, I'm still the Deputy Treasurer, so I'll still be here.
So just before you begin, I know you're going to talk about the default budget. We understand the default budget, so if you won't have to give us the,
Perfect.
like the third grade version, you can give us like the senior version.
Excellent.
We'll go from there.
So what you have before you is just a quick spreadsheet that Lynn and I put together. The proposed budget that you see in yellow is the budget by individual line that the commissioners had put forward to the voters. The green is the default budget that was passed with all the default calculations. And the year-to-date expended is just grabbing numbers from our system so you can see where things stand as of right now. Just to note, there are certain entries that are done manually, so you'll see the benefits line has nothing expended yet this year. That's because it's posted quarterly and that entry has not been completed yet by the accountant. And then the blue column is just a recommendation, Lynn and I looking at the numbers, trying to make an adjustment to get you from your proposed budget to a bottom line default budget that matches what was voted on at town meeting. So really all we did for simplicity's sake was match the proposed budget line by line, except for the items that are noted in red so that you could quickly see the references to where the funds were recommended to be pulled from.
Second page is in red, too.
So there is a second page, there's a couple changes on there. So in the pump station lines, we noted a few things. The operating supplies this year included purchase of a trailer. We understand it's a one-time purchase, but just since we're potentially making budget adjustments, it would be an opportunity to correct that line, which is currently already overspent. The telecommunications line, we found that at the time of budgeting, we didn't have an accurate number for what the fiber and hosted phone cost would be. That is $498 per month. So accounting for that change, as well as the other items in that line, we recommend that line be brought up to $9,670. And then the equipment repair line, just to help balance things out. I know that's just in case of emergency, but based on the history, the commission had actually voted to propose that at half, proposed it to $50,000, and just to balance those numbers, Lynn and I were recommending $46,500. The big change you see on the first page really is the CIP line. The commission had proposed $676,264 for those capital reserve projects that were planned in 2024. We're recommending that from the operating budget, you plan on $376,264, just to balance things, understanding that you have full access to your capital reserve funds that you can expend at any time. It's just easier to pull from the capital reserve funds for a singular project since it's a reimbursement, rather than trying to pull for regular operating expenses.
So basically,
Bottom line, okay, go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
was going to ask you, Danielle, to stay on CIP projects. So the in red 376,264, that represents adding 44,490,67 and making up a number on the left? I don't understand how you got to that number.
So what we did is we took the number that you proposed, which is in yellow,
Yes.
and we just reduced it by 300,000 to help balance the bottom line, because we're trying to go
So it's
from,
these two values.
I don't care about the bottom line. I want to know what she's doing here with this line.
Yeah.
yeah,
So she can explain this line to me.
yeah. So essentially, the total proposed budget was just over $2 million, and understanding that we needed to find approximately $300,000, we felt it was easiest to make the recommendation that that be pulled from the CIP project line, knowing that you can fund that CIP project line very easily through the capital reserve fund that you already have in place.
So the default budget represents the 2022 budget
The
or 23?
2023 budget with some adjustments based on the,
So we budgeted
Standard.
507,000 for CIP in the prior year, so that's how much we get this year.
correct.
Right. I want to make sure and we've already expended 44,500 out of that line.
Correct.
So it seems to me that that number would be, that 507 minus the 44 would be what's left, right?
No, what she's taking that 676 is what we budgeted, for this year.
Right, I heard.
507 is what was 2023.
I understand, that's what we have.
Okay, we have to come from our budget of this year, we need to get to that, you have to look at the bottom line, but the 507, 389, she's taking from the total budget, the 300,000, all
All right.
out of that
Yeah.
one line.
I'm getting it. And
Yeah,
so
so
we
if you
can-
look
and
at
we
that
can use
bottom
that
line.
money out of our other funds that we need.
Correct.
Okay,
Yep.
so thank you.
So it's very likely we're going to overexpend for 376.
Correct. But then we can pull
The
the
bottom line
reimbursement
is-
from the
is-
CRF.
Excuse me, it's probably just mostly, it's a paper exercise.
Mm-hmm.
The default forever total commission was $1,783,000, and the blue demonstrates mathematically how you have come up with that exact same number.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the individual lines during the course of the year may be overexpended, but as a business unit, that's
I
what we
get it.
do.
Right, and to help with the course of the year not overexpending every single line, we are recommending that you adjust basically all the lines to match what you had originally proposed in the yellow column with those few minor adjustments for the items that you see in red,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you.
just to help balance it.
Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, I infer that this is a paper exercise.
It is. Yeah, it's
So-
just for tracking purposes.
We will be paying careful attention to where we are with our budget based on the default budget.
Thank you, Don.
And
So-
once again, to ask the question, even though we're an enterprise fund and we don't take tax dollars, we still have to go by default budget.
There is an appropriation that you operate within. However, what's different than traditional non-enterprise funds is you have access to a capital reserve fund, which includes all monies you've set aside
We
from
understand.
prior year over collection.
But because even though we are an enterprise fund, we still have to abide by the town's default budget. Because we are lumped into the town.
It's all
Well-
under the same chart, the same chapter of the RSAs,
Thank you,
chapter 32.
thank you. Any questions for Danielle? Okay.
Can we get a motion?
Do you have anything else for us you'd like to?
We need a motion on that you accept.
Oh, okay.
The recommendation.
We're looking for a motion to accept.
A
the-
motion that our proposed budget be adjusted as shown on our handout this evening to the blue column called Adjusted Budget Recommended.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made to adopt the adjusted budget recommended by Finance. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstention, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be pretty quick here with the rest of your stuff so we can get you guys in and out of here for the non-public portion. Albert Street update from Mike Trank.
For Albert Street, we had the pre-construction meeting yesterday. We met with the contractor. Adam couldn't make it, but Scott from Public Works was there. I was there, Corey was there. So we went through, my agenda, talked about the project and, logistics and so forth, and then went over to the project site and, went through the particulars. I'm putting together meeting notes and I'll circulate those to everybody.
And what is their proposed starting date?
Monday.
Monday. And the neighbors in the neighborhood have been duly warned?
Yeah, we did some door knocking today. We're gonna go back tomorrow and leave some cards for anyone that didn't answer.
I just want to make sure everybody's aware that the construction's going to start.
Yeah, we did go talk to some people today.
And you made it clear to the contractor that the people need to get in and out of their driveways. If they're going to block their driveway with a trench, they need to be
We-
told in the morning.
We talked
Yeah.
about that. Yeah, any issues like closing roads or things like that need 48 hours minimum notice.
And you're going to coordinate with the fire department too. Because the fire department will need to know
Yeah, in
that the
fact,
construction's going on down there.
We did invite police and fire to the meeting.
Well,
They didn't
even if they
go.
don't go, they still have to be
Yes.
notified on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Through dispatch, the hours of operation from when the road is going to be under construction so that they can advise fire and PD of what's going on down there.
Yep, contractors are aware of that.
Thank you.
Okay. Mike, we'll do your appropriations under other business when the time comes. So, any questions about the Albert Street update for Mike from commissioners?
One more thing on Albert Street, I have a notice to proceed document.
Okay.
It's been signed by the contractor, so it needs to be signed by the sewer commission.
So I'll ask for a motion to sign the notice to proceed document from one of our esteemed
Yeah,
commissioners.
I've got copies if you want to look at it, but
Motion, authorize the chairman to sign the notice to proceed concerning the Albert Street sewer project.
Hold on, let me see what you're
Based on-
signing.
You need to,
Based on our,
this is to let them start
based on
work.
our
I know.
fine testimony from
I'll
Mike
second the
Trank.
motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to authorize the chair to sign the notice to proceed. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Abstention? Motion passes. How many do you want signed, Mike?
I just need one. And I'll send it over to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is the unsigned.
Thank you. Okay, perfect, thank you.
So Mike, we'll move on, if there's nothing else for Albert Street, we'll move on to East Union. We'll start with the wet well, crack, and floor restoration.
All of that work's been completed. The wet wells were drawn down, they were cleaned, and the work that was needed to be done in there has been done. Pretty much everything at East Union Street is complete at this point. Corey has been keeping a punch list of work. So that's where we're at with that.
Okay?
Riverview Park, the building is scheduled to arrive the first part of June, probably by mid-June anyway. And Shea Concrete was on site last week to take a look at it because they're actually hiring the crane
Yep.
to install take the old structure off and put the new structure on. So they were on site to take a look at the conditions in the field.
Including any necessary tree cutting?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, they don't think they'll need to cut any trees.
Good. Any questions for Mike?
They have
on-
to get over the fence anyway.
Well, they still have to swing it.
Sure.
So any questions for the Riverview Park update or the East Union well crack floor restoration project?
Thank you for the presentation.
Okay. So, we discussed a vehicle. Corey and Keith have been working on a replacement vehicle for the Ford pickup. And it is going to be a dual-wheel utility body truck, four-wheel drive with a snowplow. Corey has been working on the numbers, and he is in the mid-$80,000 range for this vehicle at this time, for all elements of it. I think he has spoken with Danielle briefly about being sure that he properly puts it into the CIP matrix. And at this time, I would like the commissioners to agree by motion to include a new vehicle in the 2025 CIP presentation by when Corey puts them in. Okay? So I guess we would need a motion to insert that into the CIP
Yes,
matrix.
motion that a line for a new vehicle be put in the 2025 CIP in the amount of $85,000.
I will not hold it to that in the range of 85,000, if you wouldn't mind, Dave, because Corey has a specific number and I did not get it from him.
In
How
the,
about 90?
in the,
I don't put a dollar amount, why you just,
We have to put a number into CIP, that's the
Yeah.
rule. You can't just put it in there without a number behind it.
might not the motion had to
So-
have a number. Okay.
Well, let's put it in for 90,000 then, and then we'll have plenty, and they can always reduce
my,
it.
my motion is the same, changing it to $90,000.
Second the motion?
Motion's been made and seconded to include a new vehicle in the 2025 CIP matrix, not to exceed $90,000. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion passes. Do you know what 533 Mass Road is? What he's
That's Shaw's Plaza, that was.
Oh, Shaw's Plaza, he
yeah.
informed me over the phone. We have been down, the problem down there is their pump. They have a pump station on private property down there. And they have not been maintaining it. The alarms are not working. When the alarm does not work and no one is notified, the pump station overflows. It runs down into a storm drain. At that point, it runs into the wetlands behind the plaza. And Corey has been working with Jack at Code Enforcement, with Jack at the Building Department, and Lieutenant Connor as a health official, and they are properly notifying DES of what's going on, and hopefully with the tag team approach to this problem, we can get some resolution from the owners of the plaza, who have been just basically ignoring it for years down there. And it's a big problem. So Corey wanted me to advise you guys on what's going on with that, which is done. All right, we have to authorize a sewer warrant, Lynn?
Yes, we
Where
need
is
a
it?
motion for that.
Okay. Dave, please, you know what to say.
Motion to approve the 2024 sewer warrant presented to us this evening for the payment of expenses.
I'm just gonna change that to the May 2024
The May sewer,
sewer warrant
Warrant,
in the
yeah.
amount of,
well, I don't have it in front of me.
in the amount of,
Okay, this is where we bill everybody. In the amount of $826,278.28.
28 cents.
I'll second the motion.
Motion is made to authorize the 2024
Thank
sewer
you.
warrant for the first half of the year in the amount of $826,278.28. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, abstention, motion passes.
thank you.
We got AP warrants, we have to
No,
sign them?
we already did those.
Okay, that's
last
done.
week. Yep.
Mike, under other businesses warranted, do you have some pay requisitions you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, there's a change order.
Change order, for which project?
This is for East Union and Riverview Park. So there's 3 items in this change order. This is change order 2. There's 3 items, and this is work that Corey wanted to have done.
This was over and above the original scope of work.
Yes, this is outside the original contract. The first item is demolition and removal of the old grit system in the storage room at East Union Street.
Okay,
And the second item is to reattach the front wall to the ceiling in the office.
and East Union?
East Union, yep. And this is all East Union.
Okay, because you said East Union and Riverview Park.
No, well, it's the project. but
Okay.
It's at the East Union pump station.
Okay,
And then the third item is repiping the generator radiator piping on the roof through the ceiling with copper piping. This work, by the way, has been completed. So this is essentially time and materials.
yep. All right, so we need a motion to authorize the change order with the amount.
Motion to approve change order number 2 for work that is at the East Union Pump Station under contract presently.
And these
And
items
the
weren't.
amount,
Oops, sorry.
the amount adds up to, where am I looking
Total
at?
is 75.
$7,575.
Okay.
And
Dan, you
these-
have a question?
These weren't included in the original scope of the
Correct.
contract. Okay, I'll second the motion.
Motion's been made and seconded to authorize payment for project on East Union Street Pump Station change order number 2, itemized work totaling $7,575. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes. You got another one for us, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, as far as the change order, Sherbon submitted a change order form, but we may want to put that on our own change order form, so I can get that over to Lynn for official signature.
We have to, for which, or what?
Change order 2.
Okay, well, you can get that properly documented. It's been approved for payment.
Yeah.
You just get the proper documentation to Lynn so she can put it into the warrant.
Also, the same project, East Riverview, East Union and Riverview Park. There are actually 2 payment applications pending, payment application number 3 and pay application 4. I have copies, hard copies of pay application 4, which is the most recent one. Payment application 3 went through a couple of iterations. They had to fix the numbers, so we went back and forth a couple times on that one.
What are we talking about, 3 or 4?
3, I'm sorry.
Okay. You just passed out 4. that's
I
all.
know, sorry. I don't have a copy of 3 with me. It
So
was
what's
in
going
an
on, tell
email.
us, just tell us what's going on with number 3.
All right, with 3, the bottom line is that that payment application, the total for that pay application is $53,227. Total work completed to date for that payment application is $188,220. And the total contract value in that one is $333,260. That includes change order number 1. So the retainage being held to date on payment application number 3 is $9,411.
So what are you recommending with change order 3?
Pay application 3, I'm recommending that you approve it.
For what number?
$53,227.
Okay, and that,
31 cents.
and you concur that those numbers are agreeable and you concur with
Yes.
the billing information?
Corey and I have
Okay.
gone through that.
So let's deal with that, Martha. So any discussion on this payment application number 3 by the commissioners? Okay, so we need a motion to approve payment application number 3 from somebody.
Motion to approve payment application number 3 for the Goffstown East Union Riverview Pump Station contract with Sherbon Consolidated in the amount of $53,227.31.
Motion's been made to approve payment number 3. Dave, you have a second, please?
Second.
Second. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, all those in favor of approving payment number 3 for $53,227.31, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. If you can prepare the paperwork and get it to Lynn, it's been approved, you can just get the proper paperwork to her and she can put it in.
Yep,
Payment application 4, which is in front of us.
correct. This is the most recent one. There's only actually 2 items of work for this current period. And one of those, if you look at the second sheet, it's got a breakdown of all the work on the project. So item 10 is the balance of the work for under change order number 1. We withheld some of the money previously until that work was complete. So now they're billing for the balance of that, which is $9,990. And that brings it to 100% complete for that item. And then change order number 2 is included in this. That's the change order you just approved for $7,575. That work has all been completed, so Sherbon is applying for 100% of that amount.
And you concur that they're due and they're entitled to that?
Yep, Corey and I have
So we're really not approving the payment due of 16,686.75 because we've already approved 75.75. So we need the differential to approve for this payment here. We've already approved the 75.
Well, it's two different things. You approved the change order.
Oh, the change order?
Yeah, you approved the change order. This is the payment application.
Payment application, okay, so we're good. So we're looking for 16,686.75?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the payment due for 16,686.75? We rely on you, Mike and Corey, to make sure these numbers are adjust because we're not on top of them. Okay. All right, so motion, please?
Motion to approve the payment application from Sherburne Consolidated for the Goffstown, East Union, and Riverview Pump Station project in the amount of $16,686.75.
Second, I second the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes.
If you want to sign the payment application, I have a blank for signature.
And then
All
you're
right, we
gonna
need a
send-
motion for the chair to, do we need a motion for that, or we just approved it?
Well, that's what I kind of thought you did, that was the same thing.
Danielle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna send that to me, Mike?
I am,
Okay. You sure?
and I'll send you a picture too, yes.
Just teasing you.
Okay.
I know. You're killing me.
Okay, we have any other public business at this time from our commissioners?
Only one question, Mr. Chair. I understand there's work commencing very quickly on Elm Street and Cottage Street.
Yeah, it's water and drainage.
By
So
whom?
the project was initiated by Public Works and the Village Water Precinct, or from the library intersection out to East Spring Street area.
Yeah, up to Spring
So
Street.
that's on Elm Street. But then the sewer line along Cottage Street from Elm to where it terminates on Mill is being replaced.
Sewer's not getting touched.
That's
No.
not being done now.
No.
So it's just Elm
It's just
Street,
drainage and water.
just drainage and water. Okay. But there's one manhole on
There's
Elm.
one manhole on Elm Street, like by TD
So
Bank,
there's-
that the water line runs through the manhole.
Nice.
But they're moving the water under the sidewalk, and we can eliminate that manhole. There's one right next to it we can just go to.
So I just wanted, the rest of the commission knows that there's sewer work being done on Elm Street. It's pretty soon.
All right. Any other business for the public session? That's it tonight from anybody? Before you do the motion, Dave, when we go into non-public, we will conclude our meeting without coming back into public session. So for GTV, when we say we're going into non-public, that's when we'd like you to discontinue the recording, and we will close the meeting in the room here without going through the, bringing the TV back on. So, Dave.
Mr. Chair, motion to go into a non-public session under RSA 91-A:2, that parentheses A, relative to compensation for public employees.
Motion's been made for non-public. Have a
Second the motion.
Motion's been seconded. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
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 No, do we have to do a roll call vote? We have to have a roll call vote. Daniel?
Aye.
I vote yes. David?
Dave votes yes.
Thank you. So we are going to go into non-public at this time. Thank you, GTV.